Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream. I'm here again, joined with Gavin for the Academy stream, and it's going to be a big one. We've had a big week of Academy football. City topping the group. They've already topped the group, actually, but, you know, getting the job done there, another win. And then, of course, the main game, City versus Seville. City, obviously, in a dead game, but we got to see some youngsters, and it was a good one. So we spoke about it a little bit this morning, but this is another opportunity to speak about it. Hope you guys enjoyed that little video there. Remember, we are doing a triple back-to-back Xtra Club watch-along this weekend for the Super Sunday. So if you want to get involved, a link is in the description. Good to see everyone in the chat. And I am obviously joined here by Gavin, as always. Gavin, man, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
It's been a good week for the Academy, hasn't it? You know what I mean? They did, a nice win against Seville for the Academy boys. You know, I think they'd already topped the group at that point.
The defeat against Everton was a bit thingy, wasn't it? 6-3.
Yeah. Of course, that was a little bit disappointing.
Because conceded 6 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then we've got the youth league. They're into the next round. That's brilliant news. And then, of course, the main game. So I think everyone wants to start, as you can see by the chat, everyone's speaking about Rico Lewis. So I say this is his moment. This is Rico Lewis's moment to sort of, embrace all the plaudits and all the praise he's getting at the moment. Let's talk about his performance. But were you surprised that he was in the starting 11? I mean, we've spoke about him quite a few times on these Academy streams, and we've sort of said this year it's more about just coming off the bench, maybe just seeing games out, getting minutes. Obviously, there was nothing riding on the Seville game, but I still thought it was a massive show of respect and appreciation from Pep Guardiola to start Rico, a 17-year-old, in a Champions League game.
I thought there was a real chance, because obviously they wanted to rest the players, especially Cancelo, and you knew that Sergio Gomez was going to come back in left back, so Josh wasn't probably going to play there, was he? So he thought the right back slot was there and fair play to Pep. He put him in, and boy, did Rico take his chance, didn't he? Yeah, he was played really, really well, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he was great, and we spoke about him this morning on the player ratings, and he got my man of the match. A lot of people give it Alvarez. I was torn between Alvarez, myself, and Rico Lewis. But something that I did actually find really interesting is you've seen two sides of Rico Lewis's game in that match, because in the first half, obviously, he was playing in a sort of more inverted role in the midfield. Obviously, Sergio Gomez was doing the same on that side. He was getting a lot of touches on the ball, looked pretty comfortable. Of course, he made a few mistakes in the passes and that, but that's to be expected. And every footballer makes mistakes. But then in the second half, you saw a much more traditional type of fullback. He was much more bombing down the wings, getting crosses in, and of course, that's where his goal come from. And for a 17-year-old to have that sort of ability to play in what I consider two completely separate roles, I thought I was stunned by how well he pulled it off.
Yeah, and I say the confidence to always keep trying to go round the defence and hug it out wide, to try and offer that extra bit of width, for Mahrez or whoever, was over on that side at that time. Obviously Kevin later on as well. So it was really good. And we've seen that in the Academy games time and again, where he's got round the defence and banged it in at the near post. He'd done that quite a few times, so I wasn't surprised that he took that on, and the keeper was just bamboozled to where it went, didn't he?
Well, this is the thing, you know. I mean, I've seen him a lot in the academy, and obviously you have as well. And I've seen him more, you know, with the attacking side. I've not really seen him play that sort of inverted role before. Me personally, I don't know if he has. I don't know if you've seen him play that much in the academy. But I'm more used to him bombing down the wings, getting goals. He scores a lot of goals for a fullback. And you know, he's a player that has all the potential to be at Man City for a long, long time. You know, we see Kyle Walker, he's 32 now. You know, he's going to need replacing in a few years. Now, obviously, he's very young. He's going to turn 18 this month, Rico Lewis, but he's got a brilliant opportunity to, not talking this year, next year, or even the year after, but in the next few years, to be able to make that right back spot his own. And there's very few weaknesses that I see in his game. You know, obviously, his height, that is something that he's had to deal with all his career. So I think he'll be able to deal with that. And he seems like he's got a real good football brain. So I think we've got a real player on our hands here, Gav. I can't lie.
Yeah, no question. When I first saw him back in the Floodlit Cup in the under-15s, you know, I thought, yeah, he's one to watch. And then when he moved up into the under-18s and he became captain, he was, you know, he took charge of games, and you thought, yeah, he's really progressing. You know, you could see there was a pathway for him if he carried on the same trajectory of development. And like I say, he's the first team coaches and PEP have noticed it, and he's been brought into the fold. And every time he's played, he's done really well. And last night was just an unbelievable full debut, wasn't it? It was.
I mean, yeah, Gav, come on. Is that the best debut you've seen from an academy graduate? I mean, he's 17 years old.
I think it has to be. And he's just because obviously there's only really been Phil and Cole now, isn't it? You know, they've started a game, you know, at this level. So those are the benchmarks. But you know, but even Phil, I don't think played that well when he, you know, on his first full debut.
It was a brilliant debut, and he you know, he's set all sorts of records. Fifth, he's in the top 5 youngest English players to start a Champions League game. I think he's the second youngest goal scorer, English goal scorer in the Champions League, only behind, I think it's Bellingham. He's tore up all sorts of records. I've actually pulled up his stats on screen. I know for the guys that were in the player ratings this morning, you've already heard these, but I think it's probably good just to go through him again, because it was a brilliant day for him. So this is his heat map, obviously attacking that way. Look how attacking he is, guys. Now, granted, you know, Seville didn't do too much attacking, but it would have been very easy for Rico Lewis to stay in this sort of area. You know what I mean? Play it safe. And you know, funny enough, I was sort of advocating that's what he does, because I would. One thing that I always say about young players is, I don't want them to go on the pitch and try and do too much, because if you do too much, sometimes it can make things worse. You can come off there not looking that good. And if you just keep the ball, especially with Pep Guardiola, you've done a lot right already. But look how far ahead he's already going. Look how inverted he is. This is probably from the first half how inverted he is, but he's so high up the pitch, getting into the penalty area as well. If we look at this, obviously got himself a goal, made a tackle. This impressed me, Gav. I don't know if you can see it on screen. You know, four winning. You know, four out of his 6 ground duels. Again, brilliant there. Look at this as well. 68 touches. He had more touches in the game than Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer was playing in the midfield. So this is brilliant. 89% pass accuracy. He made a key pass there as well, and obviously got himself a shot. And this is something I mentioned this morning, right at the bottom here. Dribble attempts. He had, when Alex Tellez come on, he had Alex Tellez on absolute toast, and he done him there a couple of times. So just a simply brilliant debut from Rico Lewis, and I was just so excited to, you know, after the game, I was just so excited because we've got a real player on our hands. We've seen him, you know, grow up through the academy, and he's going to be here to stay, I think.
And actually, you know, when he came off having to walk round and get the applause from everyone was fantastic as well.
He deserves it all, and you know, I mentioned something this morning actually, Gav, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I'm going to say it again, get your opinion, and maybe the chat can give their thoughts on this as well. I actually think that things could become more hard now, more difficult for Rico Lewis. He's had that taste. Obviously, he's had the taste before. He's come off the bench, but starting the game is completely different. He's going to want to start more games. He's going to want to play more games. And of course, he's still being bedded in very, very, very slowly. And they could, you never know, there could be some frustration that creeps in. He's got to now have 100% faith in Pep Guardiola, which I hope he does have, because we've seen Pep Guardiola develop Foden and Palmer. But if he does stick with the process, if he sticks with the trajectory that Pep and the club have put him on, he will 100% get there, in my opinion. But it can't be easy for him, because he'll be gagging it now. He'll want to play more and more and more. And it's just about taking that step back. I've seen people yesterday, Gav, after the game saying, start him in Chelsea. No, guys, it's the wrong thing. You don't want to, because if he goes in there, let me tell you something. He could get absolutely destroyed off Raheem Sterling. Yeah. And then I tell you, that could be his career, because sometimes if you have a shocker like that early in your career, sometimes you never come back for it. We've got to be patient. He has to be patient. He's only 17, and let's just keep him on this nice path. And when he's maybe 19 or 20, that's when we start throwing him into the big game. What's your thoughts on his progression and that?
Definitely. I think, Chelsea is a really big game, isn't it? And the fact that we want to try and progress in that cup as always. And I think if we get past them and then we get an easier draw, there's every chance he'll get another start in that respect. But I think just thinking he can play nearly every game, that comes along that isn't a league game or something that doesn't always work. I mean, I'm sure Pep will try and accommodate him into the team, but I don't think he can do it every time. And that's what he did with Phil, and that's what he tried to do with Cole as well. Obviously, Cole had his injury issues last year, but yeah, I think that's slowly catchy monkey approach is definitely the way to go. I mean, like I say, even Messi under Pep didn't play every game when he started him. He knows how to develop them and bring the players on. So they've got to trust how he deals with it, because he's never failed to play yet, has he? In that respect, those young players, they've always improved, haven't they?
And that's the thing, it'd be irresponsible and reckless to start throwing him in every game. Yes, he's had a good game yesterday, and he's played well every game he's come on. He's played well, but you've also got to be realistic. And when I say this with the utmost respect. The games that he's come on as a sub, the games have been dead, right? But that I'm not taking anything away from him. And yesterday he didn't have to do much defending. So you want to then throw him in a game like Chelsea. He's going to have to do a lot of defending. Yeah. It's going to be a massive game. We all want to win the game with good progress through to the next round. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. So let's just take our time, stay on that nice linear approach upwards, rather than people want that Bitcoin thing, innit? Like, boom, relax on that. Let's just take it nice and easy, and we'll get there. We'll get there together. You know what I mean? But it was simply sublime. It was good to see. Anything else to add on Rico Lewis? Anything pertinent to the conversation?
No, I don't think so. Like I say, it was just so exciting to see him, and even like I say, trying little tricks and do things. Even if it didn't quite come off that time, did it? But it caused the defenders to think, oh Christ, I've got to do something to make sure he doesn't take the piss again. So no, he's definitely. Got the right mental attitude, like I say. He knows when to try and keep it simple, and knows obviously when to try and push and see. But no, really excited for him. As I said on the Twitter, said you're that guy, and he certainly showed it.
No, for sure. I want to move on to Cole Palmer now. This is a bit of a dodgy one, because we have mentioned before on these streams, haven't we, Gav, that he's not really an academy player anymore. However, he's still in that sort of he's graduation. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we'll speak about him, because we don't speak about him that much on the normal chat, on the normal streams, just because purely obviously we're speaking about the other players. So let's speak about Cole Palmer. Let me bring up his stats actually for the guys, so they can see his stats. Where are we? If I click this button here, that should be it. There we go. Boom. Let me just quickly run through his stats before we check it out. So he played 70 minutes. Look at that, 26 touches, 16 passes, 88% pass accuracy. Made one cross with a success, long ball was a success, had one shot off target, which he should have scored, in my opinion. Only had one ground duel, got fouled a couple of times. I actually think it was probably one of his more quieter performances yesterday. I think he struggled to get inside the game. And in fact, that comes on to a good point from Sai, actually, with a donation. He says, Gavin, would you use Palmer as a KDB style, or would you use him as a winger? And I think that's really interesting based on these sort of stats that we're seeing.
I think he operates better on that slightly wider role, doesn't he? I think when we used to watch the academy with him, when him and McAtee were in the same team, and he was used behind McAtee, and in those games we just struggled to really open teams up because McAtee wasn't the player that was making the runs behind the defence. And then Palmer just sometimes didn't know quite how to link up in that respect behind as well. So right from the get-go, when they were like 17, 18, you could see that, Cole needs to be further up the field and McAtee just behind them. And so, when Cole plays, he needs to be in the sort of Mahrez role, doesn't he, really?
People were mentioning this morning, Gav, that if Mahrez wasn't playing and someone else played right wing and Cole Palmer still played the role yesterday, that he would have got greater joy. And maybe because no one's blaming Mahrez, it's just because maybe Mahrez was sort of drifting in field as he often does. They sort of clashed, and that obviously resulted in, as you can see here, Cole Palmer not getting on the ball. Do you think if we did have maybe a different type of winger, maybe say we had like a Sterling who was more going down the outside rather than cutting in, that could have helped him out a little bit? Because I think he does have the potential to play in that sort of central role. I do agree. I think his long-term future is out on the wing, but I feel that maybe Mahrez, obviously with his cutting in as he does, maybe
Mahrez doesn't make any runs, does he? Just he wants the ball to feet and then try and do something. But Mahrez didn't in the first half, wasn't great, was he? And then he was a lot better in the second half. But I'd say I'd rather Mahrez was just used as as a sort of he's the sub to come on rather than and let Palmer develop more than they keep trying to play Mahrez or try to play him into form. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we've got more opportunity for Palmer to make a difference further down the stretch. I think in the second half of the season after the World Cup, and if he's starting to play more regularly, I think he'll do more than Mahrez is at the minute.
I mean, massive news coming out that he's in Gareth Southgate's 55-man squad. Gav, Cole Palmer.
Right? No.
Are you in it? Did you make the cut? he's giving every single English person a chance to play in this. It's 55-man squad, and apparently Cole Palmer's involved. It's kind of bizarre. But yeah, I think Cole Palmer's just one of them. You know what I mean? He's gonna. Well, what you'll get with these academy players, and you would have had it with Foden. I can't name the games off the top of my head, but you will get this. You have peaks and troughs. Up and down. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not straight. As I said that about Rico Lewis, like you want that nice linear progression. It's not really like that. It's like but you want the long-term progress to go up. But there are going to be some dips. There'll be some games which they'll have stinkers. Let me tell you some news. One game Rico Lewis will play soon, maybe not soon. And he'll have a stinker. It might cost us a goal. That's just part of development. It's part of learning. Do you know what I mean? And maybe Pep learned something about Cole Palmer. That okay, maybe that's not the position for him, or maybe if I do play him there, I need different personnel. But again, some people might argue that yesterday Tuesday was more just about the minutes yesterday more just about the minutes than performance. But Cole Palmer, I still think we all have a lot of hope for, and I think long term on that right side. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be starting games very soon.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's going to be this season or maybe next season. But if Mahrez goes in the summer, then next season he'll be starting games, and I still believe that come the end of the season, if he keeps developing the way that we want him to, I think he's going to be putting real pressure on Mahrez, and I think he could be starting matches, guys. So one to watch anyway with the Cole Palmer situation. But yeah, keep your comments coming in on this, guys. I want to quickly speak about Wilson-Esbrand. Didn't get on the pitch for too long yesterday, but we'll speak about him. Before we do, Guys, check this out. There you go, guys. This Sunday, book it off with your partners because you're not available all day. 3 streams starting at 12 p.m. UK time, finishing at about 6:30. 3 matches, all for our Xtra Club. You want to get involved, help support the channel. Link is in the description. Get involved, man. Wilson-Esbrand. Let's get on to him. Here is his stats. Obviously came on for 20 minutes. That's his heat map, as you pretty much expect on the left-hand side. Is there much to this? 20 minutes, made a tackle, two out of 2 ground duels, and one out of his only aerial duel he won there as well. 100% pass accuracy of 7 passes. You can't complain. You can't complain. He was on the pitch for 20 minutes. Look, I think I've made it quite obvious over the period that we spoke about Wilson-Esbrand, both with Gavin and just standard on the streams. I'm a massive fan of Wilson-Esbrand. I think his overall game, he probably has more to his overall game, in my opinion, than Gomez. I think he's better defensively. Granted, Sergio Gomez is probably better on the ball. I accept that, and maybe he's probably better going forward. But I definitely think that Wilson-Esbrand's a better defender. And that's why I'm a little bit frustrated sometimes with the signing of Sergio Gomez, because I do feel that it's just pushed Wilson-Esbrand down the pecking order a little bit. He would have started yesterday, Wilson-Esbrand, had we not had Sergio Gomez. Where do you see this one? It's a bit of a weird one, because look at Rico Lewis. He's got no one there. He's got a free shot at that right back spot because we only got Walker. And obviously, in a game like that, he's not going to play Cancelo because he's going to rest him. So he's got that spot. Like you said, I asked you right at the start of the stream, did you expect Rico Lewis to start? And you said, yeah, obviously, because there was no one else available.
Yeah.
With Wilson-Esbrand, I think he should be starting these games. But obviously, he can't because he can't get in the team because of Sergio Gomez. And that's not Gomez's fault, of course.
Yeah.
Where do you see his development coming from there? Because he's obviously he's a bit older than Rico. I think he's already 18 or maybe 19. Where do you sort of see his development coming from? Because to me, Gary, it seems like it's on a bit of a halt right now. I don't know where he's going to get this development from.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because there is that sort of block in the team, and as was McAtee, wasn't there? Really, he wouldn't have really got that many minutes even if he'd stayed. I think, like I say, we've brought in Gomez, and it's not giving him that opportunity that Rico's got on the other side. It's I don't know where Pep thinks he can add to his development if he's not going to be playing as much. It's going to be hard, isn't it? He's definitely got ability to develop further and do something, but I don't know how they're going to go about doing it, because, like you say, at the moment it's a bit limbo land, isn't it, for him? So, but
he's 19. So I just checked. He's 19. He's 20 in December. He's got to be playing first team minutes. So is it a case of, do we need to loan him out? Does he need to go on loan maybe? Because
they might look at that, might they, in January, to think, because they were obviously wanting to see possibly with his fitness, with his hamstring and other things, didn't they? I think, and obviously do the right training and so on to help strengthen it. And obviously he's stayed fit, hasn't he? He's not, as far as I know, he's been available all the time since the start of the season. So that's a really good sign. So I think maybe that was what the whole coaching and backroom staff were thinking, that they wanted to see whether he could sustain a long period without any sort of muscle injuries or anything, and after his year out with his ACL. But it seems he's doing all right. And
do you think that he actually has the ability to make a step up into this first team? Am I moaning about a player that realistically is not going to play, or because I think he's got the potential? I'm not saying he's guaranteed, but I think he's got the potential, Gav. Whenever I see him play, like him.
I say that you wouldn't really think any much difference between him and Sergio. Obviously, I'd say Sergio gets forward well, doesn't he? He adds to that. But I don't think Joshua Dell is as good cutting inside and helping create that space further up. But like I say, purely on a defensive element, I don't think there's anything between him and Sergio. So, but like I say, I think they could really be looking at a loan in January. It obviously depends on how Walker comes back from the World Cup. If he's picked up another injury and stuff, he's out, then maybe they might want to keep him. I don't know, but because obviously then maybe Cancelo has to play right back more, So who knows?
Again, it's an interesting one, guys. Let us know your thoughts about Wilson-Esbrand in the comment section below there. Like, do you think I'm moaning about nothing? Do you think he's got the ability for it? I think he's got the ability to make that step up, but at the moment, he's not going to get the minutes because of Gomez. Does he need a loan? I think probably he does need a loan in January. See what happens. Just you never know if Pep wants to keep Gomez in the summer. I'm not convinced that Gomez will be here beyond the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if he got loaned out or moved on. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot to play for here, but one thing you can't do is just have a player sat there not playing. And of course, we're almost at the January transfer window now anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. But players, they have to be playing. I mean, I know people say, "Oh yeah, but they're training with the best." You know what I mean? They're training with the first team. Yeah, and there is that. You know what I mean? There's obviously the training with the better players, defending against better players, and being with a better coach. But really, in my opinion, and call me old-fashioned, I think the best place to learn is on the football pitch, playing competitive football, guys. So I think he should get a loan out in January. I don't know where. I don't think it's as crucial as someone like a McAtee, where you really needed to look at the team that he needed to go to. I think you might be able to get away with it a little bit more with a left back. But for me, guys, I think he needs to get. I think he needs to get loaned out. Let me bring this up on the screen now, actually, because I want to ask you about the. Before we actually move on to the academy performances against Sevilla and Everton, I just want you to take a look at this here, Gav. This is obviously the team that started against Seville. There's a bench down here as well. Do you think any of these were unlucky not to be involved in the first team, even if they didn't get on the pitch, just to fill those bench spots up? Because I'm looking at someone like a Shea Charles. I thought, you know what? Given the fact that, Rodri was rested, Calvin Phillips is still not back. He's going to be back very soon. I thought he was very unlucky not to be involved, even if it was just on the bench and not get on. To be honest with you, Gav, I thought Oscar Bob was unlucky. Not to be involved. Again, I'm not saying they had to play. I'm not saying they had to even get on the pitch, but not even to be on the bench. I thought he could have considered it. These two here, I thought could have considered themselves.
And obviously Carlos as well.
And then obviously this man here, who did come on. I don't know why he did come on, didn't he? For 30, come on for.
No, he didn't come off the bench.
Oh, did he not even come off? Oh, right, okay.
No.
I thought he'd come on, but yeah, of course, this guy here didn't come on either, which was a shock. To be honest with you. Well, I mean, anyone else there that could consider themselves unlucky? I think it was too. Obviously, he's only 16 in Darla, isn't he? I think that's probably too soon. But
yeah. But what a game he had though. Again,
I mean, he's loving that competition.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Yeah.
How many goals has he got now in that competition this year?
Oh, I say I don't keep the number in the stats, but yeah, he's been the keystone for us being in the situation that we are in, aren't we? Those late goals and everything that he's done. That when he's been on the field, he's just made opposition's defenses think, Christ, what are we doing here?
Well, what does Borges? Because there's a lot of people on Twitter. I don't know if you went on Twitter before the game when the team came out, the first team game. People not happy that Borges wasn't involved in that first team.
Yeah, but I say when thinking, I was running late and thing, and I never really got a chance to have a look at things before I got in the stadium. And then so I asked the guy and said, "Who's on the bench?" And when I said, "Oh, is Borges not on?" He said, "No." It was a bit of a shock. I thought, yeah. So, but I don't know whether something happened because obviously he was included in the squad overnight, wasn't he? So
yeah, it's just
thought he was prime, ready to come on, but
I mean, if you look at these are his stats from this season. I mean, just brilliant. And even if you've not seen him play, guys, I genuinely think that he's got an unreal potential. I think the way he plays
I've,
football is
I've still
stunning.
yet to see with the Derby hat trick. Can't find any footage at all. It's shocking. And
Uh,
like I said, I'd love to be able to see how well those goals went in, because I think all over Twitter at the time, all the Derby fans were all saying, "Can we sign him up on loan?"
yeah. The thing is with Borges is again, guys, is the way he plays football is very old school. He's a
Yeah,
traditional winger. He gets his head down, tries to beat his man with pace, bit of skill, put the ball in the box. He's very direct. He's very like I say old school in his play. And to be honest, the way that City play with a striker nowadays, I think he'd be perfect on that left hand side.
yeah,
Not saying he's going to overtake Grealish, but I just think the way that he beats a man and puts the ball in the box, he always has his head up. Something that Gav will tell you, and a lot of people who watch academy football, a lot of players, they always have their head down. Do you know what I mean? They're brilliantly
yeah,
technically on the ball, but a lot of players, they struggle to get their head up, and that's where the real elite level players, that's where they
yeah,
really excel. And Borges, I hardly ever see him look at the ball. I don't know where he knows it. He's always looking,
yeah.
trying to get that ball into the box. His delivery into the ball, probably one of the best I've ever seen at an academy level. It's pretty much spot on 9 times out of 10. And again, people are going to be asking, what's going on with it? If you look at his contracted until 2024,
Yeah.
there's going to be bids for this guy in the summer. Let me tell you,
Yes.
there will be bids from
Yeah.
abroad for this guy. And City have to be careful because I get the letting the Adozis go, letting the Matondos go, the guys who maybe just aren't at that level. But someone who is, in my opinion, at that level, someone like a Borges, that's where the frustration comes because you're letting a player go that could save you 70 million quid.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going on
That's
with
what
it.
a Liao or something will cost, won't he? At least 70, won't he?
But this is what I mean. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
could save yourself a lot of money here, and
Yeah.
I think fans are not stupid. We know not there's very few players that are in the academy are going to make it through. You know what I mean? 1% of players maybe will make it through. Yeah, we get that. But when you see the 1% player, or you think that they could be the 1% player, and you've got a Champions League game which doesn't mean anything, and you don't fill your bench, and you've got this guy sat on the bench in the young youth league, and I'm not 100% sure what's going on. It just can be a bit frustrating at times. But anyway, yeah, that's Carlos Borges for you. Keep your eye out on him, guys, because he really is a brilliant player. Keep your comments coming in. Jay, not confident. Jay thinks Borges is going to get off, sadly. We'll see. He's been at City a long time. There's no guarantees in football. There will be bids for him this summer. I can guarantee you that. But let's see what City have in store for him. Let's see. City surely will be offering him a new contract. And let's just see what the plan is. And hopefully he stays because I think he's a real talent. Let's see if there's any more comments. Feel free to add on any of that as well, Gav. Yeah, Andrew is just saying the same sort of thing. 2 goalkeepers again, no Borges, disappointing. It is, but maybe there's a reason. Maybe he picked up a knock. No one,
Yeah.
see,
Exactly. We don't
no,
know.
no one really. This is a slight
Yeah.
frustration, and it would have been nice to know why he didn't play. Obviously, City are well within their rights not to tell us. But I don't know. Dennis is a big fan, by the way. Osmadu said there's no way City will let him go without a buyback and a sell-on clause. That's probably true, mate, but
Yeah.
people want to see him play. Anyway, that's Borges. Should we have a bit of a chat about? In fact, before we move on to the Everton game, let's just congratulate the academy side because they've had a phenomenal year in the UEFA Youth League, top in the group. I think they finished on 14 points.
Yeah.
Really did well. A lot of late goals as well. A few comebacks in there.
Yeah.
And then Dala, someone we spoke about a few times, has been key to the Champions League success this year. He's tore it up. He loves a goal in this competition, and it's good to see them step into the next round. And hopefully they've struggled in this competition over the years, Man City, and hopefully they can kick on this year.
I think in the defense is obviously the weakness part, isn't it? I think I'd say Galvez doesn't seem to have really, stepped up with the loss of Juan Larios. I thought maybe Galvez could, stamp his authority to show, I'm here, I can do it. But he's looked a little weak on a few occasions, and when we mix and match the centre halves with Finlay and Elaine and Jadel and stuff like that, sometimes I don't think they know where they are in that respect. But that I think that will obviously have an effect further down the field. But I think obviously in the group, it's not really effect because we've been scoring so many goals. But you can't always rely on things when you're going forward. But I'm excited to think that we could do something if they can manage to get a settled back four for the remaining games. Then maybe we can do something. Yeah, and good to see Murray Jones get a debut and keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, of course, it's been fantastic for the main, hasn't it? But he's come in and more praise to him. But that's decent. I mean, should we probably just cover it? I mean, it wasn't a great result, was it? But Man City obviously played Everton, and it wasn't a performance and a result that they'll probably be thinking about for too long. But again, these are things that happen in football. They'll have to take this on the chin, won't they? I mean, they can't just think about it all the time. And to be fair, I mean, they've gone out and got a decent result. Obviously, not all the same players got a decent result, but 6-3 loss against Everton.
Yeah,
it was a disappointing.
I think obviously that the main thing on Wednesday was to keep the clean sheet, wasn't it? And obviously they did that, didn't they? And bizarrely, how the Sevilla team turned up to park the bus and then get all of it nasty. It was just bizarre when there was nothing riding on it.
I've been told as well, Gav, that the first teams like that and the academy team's been like that throughout this Champions League. I've only seen it obviously when they played City, but you've seen the stamp. Was it on Ndala in the first game? And you've seen obviously the issues with the racism last night. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, but it just seems a bit of a weird sort of environment at Sevilla. I don't know whether because they're having such a shit season, they're all just doing bad things, you know what I mean? And they're sort of taking it out on other people, which is absolutely ridiculous if that is the reason. But I'm not sure what's going on there. But it I got a weird vibe. I got a weird vibe from it all.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure there. But if we take a look at that, who got on the score sheet then? It was it Borges, obviously. Sodja actually is a player that I've seen a few times now. What do you make of him? He come off the bench, bagged a goal. I seen him. I seen him. I think it was last season when Delap was out, and I've seen him a few times. Then I think he picked up a knock. What do you make of him?
Yeah, he just never seemed to have pushed out every time he's got. Looks like he's starting to get. He's got an injury or something, hasn't he? And he's never really been able to shine, has he? Really, Obviously, he was sort of alongside what's his name, the guy who went to United. He used to play with. Can't think of his name now.
I know you're about that. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
United fan, but he used to bang him in for us, and he's banging him in for United. Yeah, but anyway, so he always had sort of someone to work off alongside generally. But then, when we lost him, I think when he was playing that solitary role up front, I don't think he was quite got what he needed to do fully. But yeah, I don't. I'd be surprised if he's here for too much longer. Really, I don't think he's got a future at City. No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, obviously they say injuries have played a part, in his development.
Well, as we always say, don't we, Gav, that the main priority for these players isn't necessarily to play for City, it's to make a football career. So we wish them all success in having a career in football. That's the main aim for these players. Obviously, if you can be the 1% that breaks into City, fairs. But good luck to everyone. Someone just put in the chat there. Yeah, well, I want to show you this clip, guys, because it's an interesting clip and it sort of gets onto a bit of a wider topic here. And it's Pep Guardiola after the match yesterday. I actually only saw this today. I showed Gav just a few minutes before we come live. I'm going to mute our mics, Gav, just so it comes through clearly. Hopefully the guys can hear. Bear with us a second.
Was it before the game?
Was it before the game or was it after the game?
It sounds like it's before the game.
I'm not sure. Let me play the clip then. 1 sec. Very interesting comment. Now we don't know who he's talking about there, by the way, guys. I'm not going to start making speculation. We don't know who he's talking about, and I think he's probably talking about players that have left because that's the tense that he uses the phrase in. Players that want to leave. I mean, this is where it comes back to, like I mentioned, Rico Lewis. You've got to have faith that the club and the manager have your best interests at heart, and that's difficult because the club will always tell you that they have your best interests at heart because they want you signed on a new deal. Because then, even if it doesn't work out, they can sell you for a few years. I mean, look how much we got for Larios, £6 million. Guy never played a game for us. So they'll always be spinning you that tale. So it is difficult, and I do really sympathise with these young players and even their agents. I don't say that often, but even their agents, because it is really difficult to understand exactly what the club has in plan for you. Are they just trying to get you on a new contract so they can flip you for a couple of million a few years later, and then you can stall, or do they actually believe that you're going to be able to make it as a Man City player and have a development path for you? It is a very tricky position for the players to be in it, Gav, to be fair. I know people get criticised a lot, getting off, and people criticise players like Sancho or Lavia or Edozie or, countless other names that you could throw out there. But it is very difficult. And at the end of the day, if there is an opportunity to go and play first team football, you can understand why they take it.
Yeah, I think, but there's obviously a way to do things. Obviously, I don't think Sancho was particularly what's his name when he sort of supposedly down tools. I don't, but to try and make sure that he got the move away. But I think every party's got to work together, haven't they, and just say, look, where do you see me? Will I get enough game time? Have a look at the squad in front of them and say, at what position, can I play in a slightly different role, and maybe I'll get minutes that way or whatever. Yeah, it's just got to be done as best as possible for everyone concerned, doesn't it? Because at the end of the day, they're human beings, and it's their livelihood that you're dealing with, and they need to make the best that they can for the short term, don't they? So, but at the same stage, and City have spent time and effort to try and help them develop. So it has to be a bit of a quid pro quo, doesn't it?
Yeah,
on both sides.
No, for sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play that again because they couldn't hear it, but I've sorted it out. Bear with us a second. Let me play that clip for you again, guys.
Quality with the ball is so intelligent, so clever, is always focused, and experience for him. And academy help us a lot the academy for Man City is working really well for the last years. Many players come up, and the guys who want to stay have quality. We give opportunity. The guys he is not patient, and the agents command their future, so they decide to leave. And all the best.
There you go, guys. Hopefully you could hear it that time. I think you could. But yeah, so clearly players and agents. I think these are past players. But I don't think it's anyone now. But yeah, you can fully understand it, and obviously that's what we're saying. Me and Guy, I can understand why players want to, might want to move on and play first team football. It's like the Sancho thing. I remember when Sancho left, right? And I'm not excusing the way that he left because he did leave in a bit of a shit show, but I could fully understand why he left Man City. Guys, you know what I mean? Like Dortmund come and knock on your door and say, come to Dortmund and we will start you and you will be a player for us, and within 2 years, 3 years, we'll sell you back onto to England. Because that's what they do in Germany, because they know they can't compete with Bayern. Or you've got Pep Guardiola constantly saying, I'll keep working hard, and maybe in a year or two, I'll give you 15 minutes in a Carabao Cup game. Some players will be drawn to just leave. And I don't know. It's just it's a very difficult balancing act for both the players, for the club, for the manager. No one's always going to be happy, and the fans are always going to be moaning about something because I think fans, especially the guys in the chat now, yeah. You all have a keen interest in the academy, I assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching the stream. And so most of you guys will probably you would have wanted Borges to play. You might have wanted Mabude to play. You might have wanted Shea Charles or Oscar Bob to play. It's obviously not all possible. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I just think we just have to accept it. We have to accept it, Gav. I mean, we see Rico Lewis. Maybe one's enough. maybe one player. You know what it should be? You know, like the NFL, they have like drafts, don't they? And then they pick a player. That's what maybe City should do to every year. Right? This is our nominated player. No one else from the academy is going to get a goal. This is our guy for the year. I'll just make everything easy, won't it? Let's just do that. Let's have a look, see what people are saying in the chat. Abukar, yes, says Dortmund is the best place for youngsters. They know that they won't get minutes here and start in a place. They will play with the young players in mind. I don't fully agree with that, but I do at the same time. Dortmund, obviously, you go there, and if they want you are going to play minutes. You can get minutes at City, as evidenced by Foden, as evidenced by Cole Palmer, as evidenced by Rico Lewis. It's just it's more difficult to get minutes at City because we're a better team. Yeah. That's fair, isn't it, Gav?
Of course it is. You can't let these world-class players that we've got in the first team just sit on the sidelines just to give some youngster a few more minutes all the time. They've earned the right to be playing regularly and being on the world stage to help their own careers as well, isn't it? Because the more time they're on the pitch and doing the business, which they always are for City, they're building their brand up and making a chance to make some really great money for themselves, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they've earned that right to do that. You can't take that away. And the youngsters in the academy have to realise that how hard that they've worked. Those other players have worked to get where they are. And if they have that same sort of attitude, they could do similar as well, whether it be at City or somewhere else. Yeah.
To wrap it up, then, just a final sort of question from me. Do you think that we're going to start seeing more of these sales with buybacks? Because to me, this seems to be sort of mutually beneficial for everyone. The player who needs minutes.
Got so much talent in the academy, haven't we? That they can't all stay and progress to the first team. So they've nearly all got a decent value. So and then obviously put sell-ons and buybacks or whatever. I don't think obviously the buybacks are generally used, but certainly the sell-ons could be a big thing. I mean, like I say, we could have straight away with Lavia, couldn't we? If Southampton had sold him straight to Chelsea.
I know. That would have been pretty wild. Yeah. Right, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. Andrew W there says, I think we'll buy Bazunu back. Could we see Borges? No, I don't think we'll see Bazunu back. Osmadu says, could we see Borges going to Dortmund in a Bellingham deal? You never know. Stranger things will probably happen. You absolutely never know. And what you got to understand is with Dortmund, this is why I don't like the Bundesliga, and I don't like when people say, "Oh, look at the Bundesliga, look how mint the Bundesliga is." Other than the fact that the tickets are really cheap, it's the shittest league ever. You know what I mean? Like, you got Bayern Munich, who just farm all the best players. They only win the league. Even when they have a bad season, they'll still win the league. And Dortmund, they're both realistic title challengers. They are set up like a business, but because they give all the fans £300 season tickets, it's all rosy. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's not right. It's not right. Do you know what I mean? So that is a very good possibility. No, Andrew, no, Bazunu's not burnt his bridges. We just don't think he's good enough. I would imagine Gavin the same as me, just not good enough on the ball.
The footwork, no chance. No, he's
just keeping the ball out of the net. Which, by the way, sometimes, when you're watching a City performance, you're like, oh, that's what we need. He's top notch. You know what I mean? He's top class. So I think on the ball is slightly below. In fact, a pretty interesting tweet's just come out from quite a reliable source as well. Let me just quickly get this up on screen. It's just literally popped up here now. Let me whack this up here. There we go. Look at this here. Bayern Munich have been watching Rico Lewis, Man City development intently, whilst other Bundesliga clubs were interested in a January loan deal before his performance against Seville. Man City will begin discussing a new contract over the coming months, and that's from Jack Dawn. Very good source there for Man City. So City have got to get this guy tied down to a new deal. He's contracted until 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce a new contract within weeks. Personally, Gav.
Well, he has to wait till he turns 18.
Well, he's 18 at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you can only sign a 3-year pro contract when you're 17, and then when you're 18, you can sign another one. So that's the situation. So as soon as he's 18, I bet all the deals already been started to be, the balls have been rolling anyway. So he'll be on a nice increased wages as soon as he turns 18 and everything. Yeah.
Nice little pay packet to combat this inflation. Right, cool. We'll wrap it up there. Let's just see if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else. Sub to Flying Pig. Can we talk about KDB subbed into a QTL game? Basically, the first thing he does is one of the best assists. So yeah, it was a very, very good assist. That it was a nice. It reminded me of like a one that he did against was it Stoke for Sane? It was a really nice, really nice ball. Jay said, I think Rico will sign clear path through with Walker aging and already being backed with the start yesterday. That's what we hope. That is what we hope. Brilliant. Good round up that. Thank you very much again, Gav, for coming out as always. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. I've put Gavin's Twitter in the description. It's the second line there, so click that for all your academy news. And yeah, we'll probably be back, me and Jordan, back tomorrow for the press conference. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you in the next one. See you in a bit, guys.